A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today, so cheers. Now, to say that I am a fan of the author Joe R. Lansdale would be an understatement. I think he is a very underrated author. I think he is an author that has the ability to write across a whole gamut of different genres: horror, thriller, comedy, drama. He really kind of fits the bill for all of these things. And the fact that not a lot of people actually talk about him, I think, is actually quite sad, especially when you see the kind of current state of like shock horror fiction that's being produced. I've reviewed a few of them on my channel, of course, and I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm saying Joe R. Lansdale kind of did them better, and every time I read one of his books, I am pleasantly surprised. I, in fact, have one of the limited edition copies of Driving to Geronimo's Grave and Other Stories. This was a signed limited edition copy that I got my hands on. So yes, I am a fanboy of Joe R. Lansdale. That is why I'm so happy to have read, and I'm now going to review The Donut Legion, his latest book that came out in, I believe, March of last year. Now, as you can see from the cover, there's a very telling clue about what The Donut Legion is about, and it is right here. Yes, this is about flying saucers, or more specifically, a flying saucer cult. Now, I am a person who has been very fortunate to have actually managed to capture a UFO on film, an unidentified flying object on film. This is footage that not a lot of people have seen, but I am willing to put it out there now for the purpose of this review, so you know that the topics and the subjects that Joe R. Lansdale is writing about in this book are topics and subjects that I am intimately interested in and that are very near and dear to my heart. So without further ado, I'm going to show you my flying saucer footage, and you can, debate whether or not you believe it's real or you believe it's fake. That's entirely up to you. Personally, I believe it's real, but that's just my opinion as someone who was there on the scene at the time. So here it is. No one's ever seen this before, so make of it what you will.
I don't know where I am. All I know is there's a flying saucer that's just landed outside. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit closer. Ooh, it's a flying saucer. Ooh. Oh, it's opening. It's opening.
Just watching that back is fucking chilling for me. Oh my God, I remember that night so well. You can't tell me that's not fake or that's not someone taking the piss. That is fucking chilling. Okay, The Donut Legion. What is this book about? Well, this book is about two brothers, Charlie, I believe Charlie Garner. Yes, Charlie Garner and his brother Felix. And their search for Charlie's missing ex-wife, which leads them to a flying saucer cult in a small town in Texas, I believe. And ultimately, how everything kind of comes to a head with the cultists, the cult leader, Charlie and his brother, a reporter by the name of Amelia Moon, who everyone calls Scrappy, and Charlie's brother's girlfriend, a lawyer by the name of Cherry. Now, this is going to be a spoiler-filled review because I fucking love this book and I just want to talk about it. So if you don't want the book ultimately spoiled, just know that this is one of Joe R. Lansdale's best, in my opinion. There is a little bit of body horror in here, not a lot, like very, very minimal, but it is a very tense read. At no point until the end of the book do you actually feel like the characters are safe. And you don't know what is going on, and you don't know who to believe. And while it is told in the first person, there is a point in the story where you wonder if it is an unreliable narrator. So, with that said, I'm just going to get right into the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
So, before I get into this, I'm just going to go over the characters with you. So we have Charlie Garner. He's the narrator. He was a former private investigator, but now he is an author, a published author. There was his book rights had been optioned as a film, so he's doing okay for himself. His brother Felix was a former psychiatrist. Now Felix is a private investigator who took over his brother's business. Felix's girlfriend is a lawyer by the name of Cherry, who is very, very good at her job and apparently quite easy on the eyes as well. And midway through the story, or a bit earlier than that, we get Amelia Moon. She is in town asking questions about the saucer cult that has sprung up, and she ultimately ends up working with Charlie and Felix and Cherry to try and find Meg, who is Charlie's ex-wife. Meg and her new husband Ethan have gone missing. At the beginning of the book, Charlie gets a visit from Meg, but she's not really there. It's almost like a spiritual visit. Is he dreaming? Is he not dreaming? We don't really know. And Meg warns him to stay away from the omelets, which is something that will come up at the very end of the book in a very clever way, which I should have seen coming, but didn't, and that was on me. So Charlie enlists the help of Felix to find out what happened to Meg. We find out that Meg is living in Maytown. Maytown is basically this small town where there is this flying saucer cult, and the saucer cult actually owns a lot of donut shops in the town, hence the Donut Legion. Meg worked at one of these donut shops. Meg was part of this saucer cult. So naturally, Charlie, still being in love with her a little bit, goes off to try and find out what has happened to his ex-wife. He talks to two people, the former police chief, a man by the name of Grover, who used to be part of the cult but got out of it, and the manager of the donut shop that Meg used to work at, a young man by the name of Kevin, who is like a down-on-his-luck piece of shit that's trying to get out of the saucer cult. At the moment, Charlie finds out that the cult kind of wheedles its way into people through the donut shop and things like that. And they have a big compound just outside of Maytown. And the religion that's based around this compound is very similar to Mormonism. But apparently many, many years ago, a flying saucer crashed on this guy's farm, and the guy and his wife went and saw it, and the guy went into the flying saucer and was spoken to by an alien, and he became the alien prophet. And the whole cult is based on this idea that the aliens are going to come to Earth, and everyone who's part of this cult are going to be turned into energy and taken back to their home planet with guns and whatnot to fight a war against the evil aliens on that home planet. That's what this whole religion is based upon in the book. It's really quite comical and very well written when you kind of get down to it. Charlie, who has enlisted the help of Felix and Cherry to find Meg, go to Meg's apartment, and everything has been boxed up as if Meg and Ethan were going to leave, but they're not there. They are ultimately arrested and for trespassing, thrown in jail. Cherry gets them out. Charlie speaks with Kevin, the manager. Kevin starts to pass him information about the illegal activities that are going on and the hierarchy of the cult itself. You have the Reverend Bacon, who is actually the son of the first reverend of this saucer cult. And he has a group of managers underneath him that dress like men in black. The leader of these managers is this guy named Cowboy. And Cowboy has a chimpanzee, not a monkey. Very important distinction there. A chimpanzee on a leash that he kind of takes around with him and dresses him up in funny clothes and stuff that he kind of got from a traveling carnival. Cowboy is not a very nice guy at all. So Charlie and Kevin have this conversation, and afterwards Felix is talking to Charlie in his office, which is also his home, and he is visited by two men, Go-Go and Plug. Now, Felix and Go-Go have history. They were high school or college football players together. So they're kind of friends, but they're not. They're kind of rivals, but they're not. It's a very, very good kind of dichotomy there. Plug is a Hawaiian-Japanese former sumo wrestler. Both of them work for Cowboy, and Go-Go has basically come to warn Felix and Charlie, listen, people don't like you talking about this saucer cult and looking into it. I'm asking you nicely, back off. If anything happens, it's not on me. I just wanted to give you a friendly warning, which they do. Charlie finds out that Kevin has sent him a package after sending him an email warning him about Cowboy. Cowboy had come to visit Kevin, trashed his place, and Kevin was also approached by a reporter called Amelia Moon. So Charlie is now kind of freaking out a little bit, waiting for this package. He goes to Kevin's house after Kevin's body is found basically torn apart and burnt in in a rug, and his car has been kind of burnt out. So Charlie goes to Kevin's house, investigates, doesn't find anything, but realizes that he was killed there, killed rather viciously, perhaps by a chimpanzee, Mr. Biggs, we don't know, and then taken somewhere else. So there had to have been at least two people involved. When he comes back from Kevin's place, he sees Amelia sitting on his front porch. He and Amelia kind of have a back and forth. They agree to work together. Now, this is where I really admire Joe R. Lansdale's restraint. So Amelia is very forthcoming in that she wants to fuck this guy. But it's never described in gratuitous detail in the book. Instead, Amelia has letters, things that she will do and things that she won't do. So she's like, I will do A, B, C, D, E, F. I will not do G. And so whenever Charlie and Amelia have sex in the book, which is quite frequently, he constantly says, like, we did D a lot of times, or that night we went through as many alphabet letters as we felt like we could. Things like that. It's very funny, very humorous, and I really appreciate that the story doesn't get bogged down with gratuitous shit like that. It's not needed. Very, very well done. Amelia and Charlie decide to team up to write a book about the saucer cult. Amelia gives a bit of her backstory. Her ex-boyfriend was killed by a car. She found out he was cheating on her, and he was cheating on her with a woman, and they went to this saucer cult. They have like tours and shit like that. And he got her a flying saucer key ring and whatnot. It's a nice little tie, and I enjoyed it. Felix and Cherry come because two people have been murdered in Felix's house. Now, earlier in the book, Felix is approached by two men. One of the guys is pissed off because Felix had taken pictures of him cheating on his wife, and his wife is now divorcing him. Felix basically manhandles them out of there and says, if I see you on my property again, I'll shoot you. Felix had stayed at Cherry's house, and these two guys had come in, and what they believe happened was people from the Saucer cult, the managers, had come in to kill Felix and Cherry, found these two guys there, murdered them, tortured them, and then murdered them, and just kind of left everything. The police absolve Felix of crime. They don't think he did this at all, but Felix stays with his brother for a while, and then they have kind of two bases of operation: Charlie's house, Felix's house. Charlie and Amelia go to the police because they don't think the police did a good job investigating Meg's disappearance. They talk to the chief of police, who initially kind of tells them to fuck off, but then has a change of heart, and he basically says, listen, this is my last term as chief of police. A lot of times with these fucking saucer freaks, I have turned my back just because I don't want any trouble in town, but there is some shady shit going on. He knows some of his officers are part of the cult, but he agrees to help them. There is a warehouse where the Saucer cult has been gathering food and ammunition and guns and shit like that, which Charlie manages to get Grover to finagle a way in so they can kind of investigate it. Charlie, Felix, Amelia, and the chief of police go to an open night at the Saucer compound where most of them are drugged with hallucinogenic donuts. Felix isn't because he has a blood sugar problem. And they discover that the cult is basically drugging people to make them easier to join the cult, give them money, all that kind of thing. Inside the warehouse, when they eventually go there, inside the warehouse, they find the bodies of a few people, namely the cult leaders, which leads them to believe that Cowboy is now running the cult and running it as his own money-making scheme, and that he is probably going to kill a lot of people and fuck off before everything kind of comes to a head. Go-Go shows up saying that he's planning on blowing up the compound when all the townsfolk are there for the big kind of saucer landing party thing. So Charlie, Amelia, and the chief of police, along with the chief of police's dog, hatch a plan to go up there and kind of try and stop Cowboy from doing what he's doing. Unfortunately, the chief of police has a heart attack. They have to move him so that he is protected. His secretary Lillian helps with that, kind of getting an ambulance to come and secretly take him away. The dog Tap stays with Charlie and Amelia. And so they have to do their plan one person short. They get to the compound. Amelia goes off with the dog. Charlie and Felix go. They bust through the gate. They don't see Go-Go, who's supposed to meet them there, but they do find a black SUV, and inside is the body of the chief of police and Lillian. So they kind of realize, shit, they know we're coming now. They are ultimately captured by Plug, who takes them to a warehouse where Go-Go has been tortured with a cattle prod, and Cowboy is basically getting ready to kill everyone. He's already killed the people that live at the compound. He's poisoned everyone that's already living at the compound, and he's waiting for the townsfolk to come up so he can blow the place up. Plug and Felix get into a fight. Felix, of course, wins easily, but Cowboy with his cattle prod is about to kind of go apeshit when Amelia comes in with a Bowie knife and stabs him in the back. This causes the chimpanzee, Mr. Biggs, to go crazy. Mr. Biggs charges with the knife in his back. Cowboy accidentally hits Mr. Biggs with the cattle prod. Mr. Biggs goes apeshit on Cowboy and fucking rips him apart. Beats the shit out of him. They manage to get out with Go-Go, but The bomb has already been set off and everything fucking goes up in flames. They fall into a fucking lake that's got alligators in it. They manage to escape, but Mr. Biggs gets eaten by an alligator, and they kind of get out, and there's this whole big fucking hurrah. The cops come after the explosion, find out what's going on, and then Charlie wakes up in hospital. It was fucking satisfying. It was ridiculously satisfying. That whole fucking sequence at the compound was just hilariously fun. I could just see it as like the final episode of a fucking TV series. It was just a great, great fucking time, and I loved every fucking minute of it. Now, why did Charlie wake up in the hospital? Well, turns out Charlie had a brain tumor. All through the book, he talks about he's having headaches. It was a benign brain tumor. They managed to get it out after Felix forged power of attorney, thanks with Cherry's help. But Charlie suddenly realizes the omelette warning that the spirit of Meg had given him at the beginning of the book. When he went to her apartment, her and Ethan's apartment, the sign had rooms to let, but some of the letters were kind of blanked out. So it kind of spelled omelette. And his brain tumor mind didn't quite process it as quickly as he should have. Basically what had happened to his wife, she was very attractive. Everyone says that in the book. The landlady was getting jealous of her because her husband was always ogling Meg. And so one night she got upset. Meg was out by the pool, was walking back in. The landlady confronted her. And when Meg was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, she punches Meg in the face, and Meg falls down and smashes the back of her head on the cement. She's still not dead. The husband was putting in rose bushes. She gets one of the shovels and just beats Meg to death. Gets her husband to come, and they bury Meg in the rose garden. Thinking that Ethan's going to ask questions, they go into the apartment and smother him to death and bury him as well. So Meg's disappearance had nothing to do with the saucer cult. It had everything to do with the crazy landlady we met in like chapter 2. I don't know why I should feel pissed off about that ending, but strangely I don't. I think it was fucking brilliant. It was very, very well done, and I absolutely adored every minute of it. Amelia and Charlie kind of lived together for a while, but then Amelia decides to leave unexpectedly. She takes the dog because the chief of police is dead. So the dog is now theirs, and she takes the dog. But then one day, Charlie's taking a shower, and she comes back. She comes back in, and they kind of reconcile. And that is pretty much the end of the Donut Legion. Wow, this book was fucking great. Really, really enjoy Joel Lansdale's writing style. I love the way that his stories are never predictable. You never know what the fuck is going to happen from one chapter to the next. The one thing I didn't like about this book was there is an impending sense of dread for 3/4 of this thing. You know something bad is going to happen. You just don't know who it's going to happen to and exactly what's going to happen. But very early on, you're given the death of Kevin, where basically this chimpanzee rips this fucking kid apart, like rips his arms off, fucking beats him to death, smashes his face in. And you're like, fuck, because you don't want that to happen to Felix. You don't want that to happen to Cherry. You don't want that to happen to Amelia. And you're pretty sure it's not going to happen to Charlie, because he's the narrator of the story. You just don't want it to happen to anybody. So as you're reading this, and as the chapters are progressing, your stomach is kind of getting into knots. At least that's how I was feeling as I was reading this. So, yeah, not much else to say about this one. I do recommend it. I I would recommend this actually as a jumping off point to anyone who wants to get into Joe R. Lansdale's writing, although now I've fucking ruined the book for you, so that's a kind of fucking moot point. But please, go and check him out. He's a fantastic fucking author. I've reviewed 2 of his books already on the channel, possibly more. If anyone that's seen the film Bubba Hotep with, who's the evil fucking dead guy? The guy that plays Ash. Bruce Campbell. With Bruce Campbell as Elvis in a nursing home fighting a mummy with a black JFK. Joe R. Lansdale wrote the fucking short stories that's based on. So, and by the way, if you think I just made up that movie synopsis, no, that's what the fucking movie is about. Please go and check out Joe R. Lansdale, a highly underrated but absolutely phenomenal author. In my top 10 authors of all time, I'm going to put it out there. Top 10 author of all time. For me, Joe R. Lansdale. Okay. If you enjoyed the review, please, everyone, share it with your friends. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter or Tweetchy or Xy or Instapop or whatever the fuck you newfangled influencers do. Please click the like button. It helps with the algorithm, or so I'm told. Don't know what the algorithm is. Don't really fucking care. I just do this for fun. Subscribe to the channel. Get your friends to subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 500 subscribers. If we do, very special video. Not going to tell you what it is. It won't involve UFOs, though. I will guarantee you that. But most importantly, of course, please, everyone, stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And go and film some fucking UFOs, people.